Hello everybody, how you doing? I'm alright, indeed. It's been, what, it's been a few days now, probably 4 or 5 days I think, since I finished the second shelf and put it in position. So basically I'd given myself a decent bit of a break before making a start on this shelf, which today, my main aim today is simply just to get this all taken apart, have a look at what kind of repairs I'm going to need to do on them, or what kind of adjustments I'm going to need to do, I'll say, to it. Not that I'm planning on doing any of them today, but I just want to get it taken apart, and so I've got an idea of what I'll be doing. Now, something different with this particular shelf is that we've got only 3 pieces making up the top of the shelf, which technically could mean getting those stained much quicker, but at the same time, because they're so fucking big, it could also be a bit awkward. But again, I'll probably do it in a similar way that I did previously, where I'll do the support pieces separately to the main pieces. Obviously you may notice I'm wearing safety goggles today, and that is because for the last week or so I've been struggling big time with my eyes and sort of feeling of burning, or at least a lot of eye irritation, and I think a big part of it is down to sawdust, potentially chemicals that I'm using, like the varnishes that I'm using in all the odours, and also I went through my toolboxes, and one of the toolboxes had a very strong smell of white spirits coming from it. I think I mentioned it before, because of a pair of gloves that were in there that I'd used for stripping the table. So I think sort of combination of the sawdust, the chemicals, too much time spent on a computer, my eyes have suffered big time. So for the last few days I found wearing the safety glasses helped me a lot here. So what I'm probably going to do as well now is, whenever I'm working on some of this stuff, I'm going to wear the safety glasses, especially when doing any sanding, because I do think that's a big factor of what's been irritating my eyes. I've not got a mask, but as long as I can see, I'll be alright. Anyway, I'm going to crack on in a sec. We're taking this apart. I've got a feeling, just from looking at the top of this, there's going to be quite a bit to do on this. I mean, for example, you can't see it on camera at the moment, but I can see there's 1, 2, 3. There's 3 bits on one piece there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. About 9 or 10 little bits on this middle one that are going to need sanding better, or at least sanding to a finish. And then on this first one, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 bits. So there's going to be a lot on these pieces. That's, and initially straight away it's just sanding stuff. Basically where I've put dowels in, just making it a lot smoother. Now I have managed to get into B&Q recently, Monday, I think it was, yeah, Monday. So I managed to pick up some supplies like sanding sheets and stuff like that. So hopefully I'll be able to get a bit more sanding done, and obviously because I've got the extension lead now, it's going to be a lot easier to get outside and get the sanding bits done that I want. Now, something that I'd also done on this particular piece was, for example, I kind of cheated a bit. On the back there are holes here that I'd never filled. Now the simple reason for that was, well, they're on the back, they're not going to get seen, so it don't fucking matter. Whereas I have filled the front side of them where it's needed it. Now, I was in two minds whether to fill those holes, but to be fair, I'm still thinking, you know what, they're on the back side, as long as it's got a clean sanded bit, I'll be fine with that. Okay, there's a few bits to do on the underneath as well, but hopefully it won't be too much of a problem. But I suppose really I just need to crack on, get this taken apart and see where we are. Okay, so let's take these apart then. Taken apart, at least I can, I've got time to charge it up. Don't want to have to unscrew all of this by hand. Good start, isn't it? Right, we'll need to put that on charge, back in a few. Okay, well, it looks like I'm going to have to revert to a hand screwdriver, as long as my fucking bits don't fall out. Sounds a bit odd now, I know, but could take a bit longer this. You know what, I hadn't even considered the possibility of a screwdriver getting on the drill getting low on charge. If I'd thought about it, I'd have obviously made sure I was charged up for today. What I remember as well, I know recently I've been talking about possibly getting some carving tools. I have ordered some now. So hopefully they should be here in about 6 or 7 days. Which will help with doing anything on these that need carving. But also on another project that has been suggested to me that I'm going to kind of secretly give a try. screwdrivers are very fucking handy. Especially this side, like being able to go 90 degree. Very much more useful than a straight ratchet. Well, it makes you realise that a long thing you can take to build without the use of a fucking power tool. I'm just taking this fucking long just to get one fucking screw out. I might be better off. Keep waiting till the drill's charged. This is one of the reasons why I much prefer power tools. My hands just can't cope with doing things like this. I want to say that it's worth me investing in a corded power drill. I know it's handier to have more than one, because if you're drilling a screw, it's handier to be able to drill and screw that interchange bits. I might have to have a look, give myself a second drill, so I don't find myself in this situation again. Oh look, I've made a fucking seesaw. Now I also know that I'd mentioned that I was going to try and come up with a different process of putting these back together. This one shouldn't be as hard because of having the 3 panels instead of 5. But what I have done is I've taken photos of each end so I can see which is the left end, which is the right end, regarding the support pieces and the planks. So as long as I remember that I've got a picture of them, that should be alright. Oh, bollocks. These screws should be considerably shorter. I do think it's gonna be at least a few days before I get all of the adjustments done on these pieces, with them being quite a lot of them. Also, I had a few beers last night. I'm not saying that I feel rough today, I'm a little tired, more tired and achy than usual. So I am kind of forcing myself into doing this today. It's a bit of punishment for drinking too much. Okay. Right, support piece here had loads of dowels, well, you can't really see, but on the planks dowel repairs have been done. So on the support piece, I've got the holes where the screws go, and then holes where I drilled. It would be worth me filling them. Okay, well, I've still got the small dowels, I can sort that out, but one thing I don't have is a saw. I'll have to see what I can do with that. That could be a bit of a ball ache, thinking about it. I hadn't thought about that at all. That I've not. Hang on, I haven't got a saw, but I've got a jigsaw. No need to worry. Right, yeah, we'll be fine. But yeah, not got a handsaw. Obviously you can tell as well, this isn't the correct bit for this screwdriver. Think about it, one of the things I probably should have done, I had to go to the folks on Tuesday, and one of the things I thought of when I was there was whether I should have grabbed one of the spare fold away work tables for when I need to do any sanding or anything like that outside. And I thought, now I'm thinking I'd be better off there, because the only thing I've got out there to lean on is a few wheel bins. You know what, seeing the holes in the back of the support piece that I mentioned earlier on, where I said it's behind, and then it doesn't matter, because just seeing them now, I will admit it's bugging me. So I'm actually thinking, if I'm going to have to fucking stick dowels in that piece, I might as well stick them in that piece as well. But if I don't, it will fucking bug me, and it'll bug me every time I fucking apply stain on it or varnish on it. So I might as well do it fucking properly. Yeah, it'll take longer, but it'll look better in the long run. I mean, it's like, I've said it before with this. This project isn't about quality of construction or anything like that. It's about quality of finish. That's what this project is about. I was thinking about this when I was at the folks on Tuesday. I was helping my dad with something, and as I was doing it, basically sticking some timber on the wall for him, and as I was doing it, I wasn't measuring the wood to fit perfectly together, but it was close enough to be absolutely fine and do its job, but it wasn't perfect. It didn't need to be perfect, but at the time it did get me thinking, well, I suppose that's the difference between someone who is effectively doing, not the bare minimum, but achieving the minimum requirement, which is, will the timber stick to the wall, is it in the right place, and will the plasterboard that gets stuck onto it be able to be stuck onto it and stick, then all of those boxes are ticked. But is the box ticked of pride of quality of finish? Now, in some respects with that, the timbers are never ever going to get seen unless the fucking plasterboard falls off, which fucking hell, I hope it don't. But I don't know, maybe if I was German it would have all fitted perfectly. So it did get me thinking of, like with this, that yes, the build quality is not going to be, it's not the greatest, and there are going to be a few gaps, and even gaps between these panels, but I don't mind that because obviously it's not what I'm working on with this. But doing this the way that I am, it is at least allowing me to see the difference of a minimum requirements approach compared to what like a quality of build perspective of it would also have. Because for example, I suppose what I would have done really is made sure that all of these edges have got a clean cut, fit them all together, glue them all together, stick them together with blocks underneath, so it would end up being just one solid piece of wood. That would be the way to get a good finish, and then when this is sanded down, you wouldn't even see a join. Well, you may see a join, but it'd be blended together. Whereas obviously I'm going to have bits where there's going to be gaps along here. But, so I suppose, although it's not the perfect way to go about building something, I would say it's a good way of learning about the differences. So it's a little bit like seeing that and going, that's bugging me. In some respects, some of this is going to bug me, but I've already gone, like, there's a level of quality of build that I'm going to stay to on this. And if it bugs me, then it's going to bug me to try and improve on whatever's next. So things like the tables I've got, the build quality isn't something I need to worry about on the round one anyway, because oh shit, it's already built. I just need to strip it and refinish it. That I know I can do. But with the rectangular table, that's a bit different because I am going to have to do proper repairs on it. And on that, if I take the approach of minimum requirements, it may not be good enough to be the minimum requirement. It may not be good enough to keep the table together. Or if I don't do it right, then the legs might not fit in position properly or bolt in properly. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration with that table. because if I decide to completely strip the underside of the table, when I say strip I don't just mean strip the finish, but if I decide to take off all of the additional pieces of wood that are on the underneath, then I've effectively, or will effectively, have to rebuild the frame under the table. So for example, like with this table, it's got wood pieces going along here which are connected to the top, but the legs connect to them, and it's similar with a big square table. But these pieces that are under here would, some of them look a bit damaged and look like they could do with being replaced. But if I do that, I've got to make sure that when I replace them, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be better than what it is at the moment. Because unfortunately, it looks like somebody has attempted to repair it before, and not done the best of jobs, unfortunately. So some bits of the wood underneath are cracked. I mean, there's even where the legs connect, someone's tightened the bolts up too tight, so the piece of wood that the legs go up to and is clamped to, they've not put the leg all the way up to the wood and then bolted it together. They've put the leg near the wood, gone to bolt it together, and then as it's tightened, instead of it pulling the leg towards the piece of packing wood, it's moved the packing wood towards the leg and then broke the packing wood. So all four of the legs have got a broken packing piece. So all of those need replacing. So they need replacing correctly. But I'm not too worried about those. It's the strips around the rest of the table that dictate the positioning of the legs themselves. But anyway, when I get onto that, you'll see what I mean. Right, lift these screws out of the way, and the screwdriver. I'm tired. Oh. Right. Okay, so what I need to do is have a decent look at all of these pieces of wood. So let's start off with this one. What have we got on here? Okay, so we've got some sanding to do on the front. So just a bit of tidying up sanding, that's not too bad. Okay, there's a knot missing, there's a knot gone. So that'll be worth carving out. So we've got a bit of carving to do. And okay, hole to yeah, a couple of holes to fill on the back side. Okay, interesting. Okay, so we've got some doweling to do and some carving to do on there and some sanding. So bit of everything. Bit of sanding on there. Bit of sanding. So just a bit of sanding on that one. Okay, might need a tiny bit of packing, gluing on the knot there. Okay, and hole filling. I suppose in a way it's a good job that the drill's died today, because I'm going to need the drill to cut those out. Okay, so we've got packing, doweling, sanding. Yeah, so about what I would expect on there. Overall though, not too bad. Okay. Again, these ones could do some dowels popping in them. I also have a third hole, but I'm going to keep that because it's one of the things that shows me that that was on the right hand side part of taking the picture of it. Okay, so a couple of holes need filling. Okay, needs a dowel. Ooh. A little bit of a gap there, a little bit of a cavern. So I can fill that with a bit of glue. Yeah, rather than trying to dig that out, which would take fucking ages because it's part of a big knot, it'd be easier just to fill that. Okay, so that's actually not too bad then. And then, holy shit, this one has got fucking loads. Okay, a couple of dowels needed in the side and a few in the top. Well, I know these ones, these shouldn't need drilling out because those holes are there from having drilled through these and putting the dowels into these. So with that one, that doesn't need drilling out. This one does a bit because it's quite shallow anyway, and one there does need a little bit, but then the ones in the side here, they probably don't need drilling out unless that hole is not big enough. Sorry, is too big for the smaller dowels, because that's a very deep hole, so that's going to need quite a few dowels popping in there. Okay, right, so a lot of doweling to do on there. I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to work out which will be the best way to go about this process. There's no point doing sanding if I'm going to have to cut and then sand the dowel bits. So I may as well, I might as well get all the doweling done, the packing done, like filling holes with glue, and all of the carving done before I do any sanding. So leave the sanding till the last. You need a bit of a clean up on the drill holes, a bit of sanding. There's just a little bit of tidying up, tiniest bit of carving. Yeah. Ooh. Okay, I've got a loose knot. That's going to need gluing in. There's so much on these that I may have been better off writing them down. But to be fair, I'll go through, when I'm doing each process, I'll go through each piece of wood. So, so yeah, it just needs tidying up. Needs sanding down. I mean, some of these pieces of wood did have to have a lot of dowels put in them, so I'm not surprised that they need a bit of tidying up. Tiny bit of carving there. A bit of tidying underneath. Yeah. So nothing too drastic on those pieces yet, to be fair. Now on this one, it had I can't remember exactly what was. I think there was a bit of wood there that was kind of coming away a bit, and it had quite a bit of sap on it. So I ended up taking the piece of wood out and trying to sand it out, but it was too sticky. So what I ended up having to do was sort of hand sand it a bit just to clean it out a little, and then leave it to dry, which now it has done. So now hopefully I can sand that out. Need to do a bit of sanding on there. So that's, I think, the biggest bit on this piece. But sanding spots need doing. And just a little bit of tidying up in the sanding. So yeah, not too bad. Okay. So let's see. So doweling should be the first thing to do. Now, annoyingly, I'm just thinking, yes, I've got the jigsaw, but may not be set up the best for a jigsaw. But that does remind me that I do need to pick up a shitload of wall plugs for my dad. So I think what I might do is have a look on Screwfix's website for wall plugs and a saw. See, I don't need a massive saw, because anything big that needs cutting, I'm going to use my jigsaw. So I only need a small saw really, but we'll see what I can do. Anyway, I'm going to stop there for now today, because I've got holes to drill and no power drill at the moment because it is fucking charging. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to yawn, go for a shit and probably get some lunch. So have a good one everybody, stay safe, and I'll see you soon for a bit of doweling.